One really important thing you need to get into the habit of when you're playing poker is counting your outs. Outs refer to the cards that you need to hit to improve to the winning hand, and counting them is the first step towards figuring out basic poker odds. Sometimes it's tricky to accurately count your outs since you have to put your opponent on some kind of a hand, but most of the time it's really easy. Imagine, for example, that you have 2-3 suited and you flop a flush draw. Chances are you're gonna have to improve to win the hand. So how many cards are still left in the deck to complete your flush? It might sound tricky at first, but the good news is if you put in some work now learning how to count your outs, it's going to become second nature really quickly. And even better news, once you know how many outs you have, there's a really simple math trick to figuring out the odds of hitting one of them. These are the most common situations you need to be familiar with. A flush draw is when you have 4 cards of the same suit and need one more to make a flush, like in the first example. With a flush draw, you have 9 outs. An open-ended straight draw is when you have 4 sequential cards and need one more on either side to make a straight. With an open-ender, you have 8 outs. A gut shot straight draw, sometimes called an inside straight draw, is when you need one more card in the middle to make a straight. With a gut shot, you have 4 outs. One of the best draws you can have in poker is an open-ended straight draw and a flush draw combo. In this spot, you have 15 outs. After you've counted your outs, the next step is calculating your odds of hitting one of them. This is one of the best math tricks in Texas Hold'em. If you're on the flop and there's 2 cards to come, just take your total number of outs and multiply it by 4. If you're on the turn and there's just 1 card to come, multiply your total outs by 2. So like in our first example, when you have a flush draw and 9 outs, if you're on the flop, just multiply it by 4, and you'll see that you have a 36% chance of hitting your hand on either the turn or the river. In the next lesson, we'll use what we learned today to help explain how to calculate pot odds and pot equity, to help you figure out if you should call with those draws or fold and wait for a better spot.